Hello and welcome to Venture Visionaries. On the panel today, we have Graham and Leanne Carling, co-founders of the Carling Group, an international family office that's been involved in transactions valued at over £1 billion. The group has acquired several multi-million pound businesses in the UK and Europe and are currently focused on decarbonising the technology, energy, marketing, building and healthcare sectors. And joining them, we have Steve Bolton, who's been an entrepreneur for 30 years, a venture investor for 15, and today he's the managing partner of Bolt Angels, an early stage venture firm that invests into tech businesses that have the potential to go on to become unicorns. Pitching today are Gary and Fraser Stewart from Lyfeguard. Let's see how they get on.
Welcome guys.
Hi.
Great to have you here. Looking forward to hearing your pitch.
About 2 years ago, after settling a couple of my close friends' estates, it really exposed me to the stress that families feel after looking for information such as important information and documents after the passing of a loved one. In the UK, there's about 600,000 families actually face a similar situation every year. Lyfeguard solves this problem by effectively and systematically pulling important information together during one's lifetime. That really eases the stress and burden on a family at a really difficult time.
And Lyfeguard's more than just digital storage, it's an active life management tool. So we help people to simplify and organise their information from financial records to legal documentation in one place, and it's already always accessible for them. But more than that, we add a layer of automation, data transformation, and handy reminders, as well as enabling them to share it via trusted users, which means that the information is useful in life, but also there for their family and friends after they pass away. As well as the direct-to-consumer market, we're really focusing in on the financial advice market. And what we're seeing there is that we can really help advisors elevate their client engagement and experience, but at the same time provide much richer and more detailed, comprehensive information to inform their decision-making. And what we've also noticed is up until 2050, there's 5.5 trillion that's going to pass down through generations. Advisors are struggling to manage this at the moment and get the connections there. Lyfeguard is the means to which to facilitate that conversation.
As a father and son team, we can bring actually quite a unique perspective to this situation. Since we founded the company back in 2021, we've raised £260,000, and we've managed to build and launch a market-ready product with that. We've signed some strategically important deals with third parties, and we've also managed to sign a really important deal with an IFA network that represents 400 IFAs, and we've managed to bring one of those IFAs live onto the platform, so we're delighted about that. What we're here today to ask is for £500,000, and what do we want to do with that? We want to evolve the platform, we want to grow our team and bolster our sales and marketing capacity, if you like. Really, it's also to help us achieve our mission by just helping families at every stage of their life, and really for all families.
Fantastic, thank you.
Your mission was to help families, but what's the goal? What's next are you looking for? What market are you looking to enter?
Yeah, absolutely fair point. So they're kind of like as Fraser mentioned, we've got the direct-to-consumer market.
Mm-hmm.
We are not pursuing that actively.
No.
There's a couple of reasons for that. One, it's really expensive. So the cost of customer acquisition is damn expensive. We are really going for the B2B market. So it's really a B2B2C market, right? So we're going through the IFAs as our first target. As I said, we've already secured an agreement with one network, which represents 400 IFAs. So we're really targeting going for those guys first. They will then give it free to their customers. And the great thing about the not going direct for the consumer, because their customers will effectively share it with their family as well. So they'll already become a subscriber of Lyfeguard automatically. So we're looking for organic growth in the consumer market, but definitely just looking at the B2B market initially, because it's more cost effective.
I'm in the financial district of London, asking people their thoughts on data and digital security. Let's go. How often do you update your important personal documents?
Well, it depends on the document itself, but I'm trying to keep them current with the latest information, because you don't know the next time that you're going to need it, and even if you're going to be capable of using it, if you don't, if maybe you need to have somebody else to use it for you. So I'm trying to get them updated as often as possible.
How do you protect your personal information online?
Oh gosh, I don't think I'm very good at it. So, there has been stuff that's been leaked and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm being watched. How do they know this?
How important is data security to you, and why?
Yeah, I mean, it's very important, but I think we have to balance it, because sometimes, security, of course, we want to be able to decide when to give our personal information out and not. I think that's the key things. That's very important to me, to be able to decide myself when to give the information and when not to give the information. But I think there is a balance, because sometimes giving that information means that we can receive a more personalised experience when dealing with companies. So it is a bit of a balance. Of course, it's very important. I think the important thing is having control and trust over the data and over the organisations we're dealing with.
How do you protect your personal information online?
That's a difficult one, because a lot of people do. People somehow end up with other people's information, but the best way is just to be smart, be careful with what you're doing with your details, and don't share them about as much as you can. Just stay vigilant, that's it.
How do you protect your personal information online?
Good question. I don't much, but I probably should.
How often do you update your important information online?
Not as often as I should, and you've just given me a reason to actually go do that.
I'm scaring you.
Yeah.
Is there another product similar on the market to what you guys are doing?
Yeah, of course. I think we can take this from two dimensions. I think when you look at the wealth management market, there's lots of software providers out there, and there's one that has like 60% of the market. However, what we're looking to do is not necessarily compete with them, but coexist with them. This particular provider has open APIs that we can plug into, and we actually feel that our customer-facing, client-centric platform is a really good way to boost the client engagement, which advisors are really struggling with at the moment, and allow that to plug into basically their backend that they're using. So there's no barrier to entry there as such. It's coexisting and bolting on to what they're using already. On the consumer side, there's a fairly few amount of products that are out there, and these are much more end-of-life focused. Now, when we started this, obviously that's where the story originates. But in the UK, particularly in the West, we don't like speaking about death. There's scientific studies that show when we mention the word death, our brain just switches off. So going out to market and marketing that way just probably wouldn't be sensible. So really what we're doing is reverse engineering it. If you can get people organized in life, give them insights, get them using the product, and then allowing them to share it in life without necessarily even broaching the topic of death, we're still getting to the mission, but doing it in a way that's going to resonate more with the customers that we're going after.
Yeah, so just on terms of the documents or information that you're talking about storing, what documents? Give me an example of some documents.
Great question. So it's anything from kind of like your passport, your birth certificate, your driving license.
Right.
How many times have you tried to find your national insurance number?
Mm-hmm.
Well, me occasionally, and never know what it is, even after all these years.
Mm-hmm.
Your wills, even although they're not technically legal in this country, because digital wills are still not there yet, but at least you've got a copy of it, and you can also point to where the original's held within the system as well. So it's pretty much any document you can imagine, and even down to the nice part of, you can even store photographs on there. So if you've got kind of photographs of family heirlooms or stuff like that, you can store that stuff as well. So it's not just all about financial and legal, it's kind of like you can have actually some nice family stuff in there as well. Anything you like.
So instead of an old suitcase in a loft somewhere, what we're talking about is this is in a proper...
Yeah.
So who's going to administer that though? I mean, who uploads the passport and the doc?
Yeah, no, absolutely correct. Good point. So a lot of these documents that you talk about are kind of every 10 years or once in a life actually. So you would scan your passport. In our application, you can take a picture of it and upload it. You can enter the information in terms of expiry date, etc. So you would do that bit. But we've automated some stuff as well. So if you want to store your car details in there, if you put a registration number in, hit return, it will populate the details for you. I'll tell you when it's registered, when your road tax is due, when your, when your MOT is due. So we've tried to automate as much of it as we possibly can to avoid the manual entry of data.
But it's the individual that will.
Absolutely.
It will be the
user.
individual. So
Yeah.
my information that we made uploads
Absolutely.
that into the system.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, you said something just earlier. You said it's going to be free to use.
Right.
So where's the revenue come from here? How are we making any money?
So we've got from the consumer market point of view, we've got a freemium, what is known as a freemium model. So we have a free entry level version,
Right.
Which will give you a kind of limited functionality, if you like. And there are many products in the market that kind of leverage that type of model. And then the other amount is a premium, which is a subscription service that you would pay a small amount of money every month, or a kind of nice annual amount of money as well. From the business to business point of view, that is going to be a license model. So that's not free to use, right? So the IFA, for example, would pay a monthly license fee. They would then give it to their customers for free. So the IFA is effectively paying us to give to their customers. There is a third part of a revenue model, as I talked about. We've secured significant partnerships, and we've done so with a will writing company, with an insurance company, and a domestic services company. So if any of our subscribers, and incidentally, we get preferential rates for our subscribers via those partnerships as well. So if they were to buy something from us, then we would receive a little bit of income from that as well.
So how much does it cost for a user, and then what are your revenue and profit projections as you look forward?
I'm going to pass that one to Fraser.
Yeah, of course. So for a user, it depends by what type of user, because we use automation, and we use automation things like open finance. So you were mentioning around the documents uploading, it seems like a very laborious process. You're going to have to go through and do all of that. So what we've tried to do is make this as easy as possible. So we've uploaded, we've integrated open finance, which means all your financial accounts, not just your banks or credit cards, but actually your investments, pensions, mortgages, all of that stuff is just there, up to date and readily available, which kind of limits the input. Now, to respond to your question, the reason that is obviously that's one of the costs that's probably the most expensive part of actually hosting these users. But we're on average around 64p for the premium users, and then much lower for the basic free version of it too. So
64p for my lifetime.
64p a month. But yeah. You'd hope so. You'd hope so. In terms of revenue projections, we're looking at for next year 120k, the year after going up to 800, 2026 at 3 million, and then 2027 at 6.8 million, and by the end of 27, so taking the December 2027 figure, an ARR of 11.8 million.
Okay, and that magic word profit?
We break even at in November 2025, and then we have a really nice gross profit margin of above, around 32% as we become profitable and move forwards and get out of move into profit territory. But November 2025 will be when we forecast that to be.
We've obviously dealt with this.
Yeah, we've done
just recently.
We've had to deal with this, so we understand the challenges around this. We couldn't find documents and all of that stuff. So I understand why you would want it to be usable during the lifetime, also as well as at the end, if you like. Just in terms of how would this link into the legal, to the lawyers, to the solicitors that are, where they're looking after the wills. So we've got wills that are held in trust, trustees by the lawyers. How does this tie into these the legal aspect?
That's a fantastic question. I'm so pleased you asked it as well, because the trusted user functionality within Lyfeguard allows you to give access to your solicitor, so he can actually. And the great thing about it is you don't have to give them access to everything. You can just give them access to specific parts of your Lyfeguard. So if it's just a legal section, if you happen to have a will, which you say you have, then you could have a legal power of attorney as well. That would be stored in the legal section, and many other legal documents. So you can actually just by means of trusted user give access to your lawyer to access all that stuff on your Lyfeguard.
Or certain members of your family.
Or any member of the family,
or
an accountant, or a financial advisor, or whoever you like. And sometimes if you want to share passports between the family, we do it quite insecurely. We normally just scan it and send it through WhatsApp. Or WhatsApp not so much because it's encrypted end to end. But if you just send it by email, it can be intercepted. But through Lyfeguard, because of its secure base and 256-bit encryption, then you can actually share. You can just all share your Lyfeguards between each other, but only particular parts if that's what you want to. You don't want your kids to see your will; they won't see your will. If you want them to see it after you pass away, then it's at that point we would open up your Lyfeguard, but only against your wishes.
So just in terms of the business and the model, so the numbers you're looking at specifically UK based only, how does this scale up globally?
I mean, first of all, we want to focus on the UK market because we need to get a foothold here first. But actually, if you look internationally, we'll look first to countries that have a similar legal structure, and the Commonwealth countries typically do have that. So New Zealand, Australia, Canada, them type, and Ireland as well. These are the type of countries that would look to go and expand into next, because these are all countries that are experiencing exactly the same problems of us, kind of a reticence to planning, forward planning. We're all overwhelmed in modern life with too much to do, which inhibits our ability to understand our information, even go through finances or forward plan at all. So it's not a problem that's unique to the UK, it's unique internationally too. However, we'd want to get a foothold here first.
And I think I'd just like to add to that as well. So we've kind of honed in on the IFA market at the moment. But there are many other markets out there that this would fit in quite nicely. So one of the things that we've been talking to a few insurance companies. The reason that somebody buys life insurance is for protection, and it's an ideal time at that point to enter the world of Lyfeguard. And it's usually when somebody's got a dependent, or perhaps starting a family, or they've bought a house, so they need to cover the mortgage in the event of death. And they've started to accumulate all this stuff that they never had before. And it's just a great time to enter the world of Lyfeguard at that stage. So there is the insurance market. There's clearly the estate management market, and that's quite large in the UK. And there's even other people, kind of like big over 50s providers. Let me leave it there. Not wanting to give out too much advertising, but they've got a massive customer base, and it's just right within our potential demographic.
And so, how much do you see coming B2B through channel and IFAs, and how much is direct to consumer?
Yeah, for the first year, a majority of it's coming through the B2B route. We find it the better way of scaling. Obviously, if you take on one IFA, each advisor typically has 200 clients, some of them much, much more than that. And we've been in conversations with IFA firms that do have clients much bigger than that, and they're going very well. Now, as we move forward, we will then switch a little bit to the B2C side and start having marketing more there. Towards the end, it will be about 60-40 split between B2B 60 and B2C 40, but to begin with, B2B is our primary and sole focus.
Okay, and how much margin do you have to give away on the B2B route?
In terms of margin?
In terms of, like, do they get a commission, so when they recommend it to their clients?
Well, interestingly, Steve, we've not adopted that model yet. So the IFA pays a license fee and gives it to the clients for free, so there's no income from that point of view. But if we were using distribution partners, then we've got kind of a reasonable amount of fat within the kind of like the selling price and the cost price. And as we scale, the cost price actually reduces, because the cost of the things that Fraser was referring to in terms of the open finance actually reduces by volume, significantly reduces by volume. So therefore, we've got enough room to almost offset that by offering some sort of commission if necessary.
And exit strategy, who do you see buying this, when, how much?
There are so many people out there hungry for kind of like neat bits of technology, and we see it in the UK market. I'm not sure whether it's appropriate, but there's lots of nascent financial services businesses and startups that are actually a couple of years old that have just sold into insurance providers, because they're really looking to make a difference and value add to the customers. So the insurance market is a big one. We can look at even banking, and there are so many different providers. So probably a trade sale, but equally there is the opportunity for private equity. I'm not going to go as far as floating. That's difficult.
No, good. I think I understand the concept. I like it. I think the scope's huge. Really potential. I think I've got some further questions that happy to take up with you later on. But no, yeah, thank you very much for that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys, we just heard from Fraser and Gary. What are your thoughts?
But my thoughts, great, fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Graham and I went through similar process as Gary 2 years ago. So I think what they've created would have been really beneficial for us back then. So I think, a fantastic idea. I think there's things that we would need to discuss about, changes to make within the company, but I do think it is a great idea.
Yeah, same. We've just been through something very similar and had the struggles of finding paperwork, insurance documents, wills, all that stuff. We were certain there was more documentation there. We couldn't find it. So I can understand the concept of it, and I think I'm surprised there isn't something there already.
I was thinking.
Yeah, I thought myself, but I think, and why I asked the question, is it only UK based? When you have people like us that live a pretty, not say complicated, but non-traditional, we have a will in the UAE, we've got a will here, and our family here wouldn't know necessarily about that. I can see certainly a gap there for I'm not saying expats necessarily, but people that have multiple dwellings or multiple residences, where certainly it would be maybe a niche premium product as opposed to the masses. So it got me thinking, because I do understand the difficulties. I didn't realise until we went through it how actually sort of disjointed the whole thing is. And even when we've done wills in different countries, one will doesn't work in another country, and unless we told people, they wouldn't know that we've got a separate will in Dubai for assets for over in the UAE, for example. So I think there might be they're on a path to something. But I've got way more questions.
No, I bet.
But
always going to have after a relatively short, but good empathy there for you to evaluate your own life to then how that could correlate to it. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, there's a famous movie and a famous line, Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. So they built it, which is great, but it comes down to the sales and the marketing and actually getting enough people on the platform. But what I would say as a counter is to get an IFA network with 400 people in it and start having some of those using it is a great strategy, sort of channel strategy, distribution strategy, because, having done a lot of direct consumer businesses, it's a tough environment with no reputation, no track record, to try and win customers cold. But to go through networks, I think it's really smart and a good early sign. And
nice guys, and quite nice. It's a sort of father and son team as well. You've got the different generations combining, and a trust and love that's there as well. But just in terms of what would you actually do taking it forward? Would you be interested in investing?
Need to find out more, as we were saying. But definitely interested in both from a due diligence point of view, but we've got a very large network, 1,000 high net worth investors. So as a potential offering to put forward into our network, that's probably will be my next step, is to actually get some people using it and get some feedback on it. And then go into the due diligence phase. Very interesting.
Probably pretty similar. I would like to find out more, find out how it works. But it certainly had a nerve for me, there is. It's definitely it's required. It's definitely required.
I get there's more questions, but in principle.
Yeah, really good.
Well, well done then. What about you?
Same. I think in principle, I'm interested to hear further information, to see more in relation to it. I think, so until we got that, I couldn't really say for sure.
I get that.
But
but it's interesting.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. Great. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you
very much.
Guys, well done. Great pitch. How did you feel it went?
I actually thought it went really well. It went better than I expected it to go. Came here as a bag of nerves. You guys made us feel very relaxed.
Good.
So I thought it went well.
Good.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's my first time doing a TV program such as this, so enjoyed it. Obviously, little bits to take away to improve on, but on the whole, I thought it was a good experience.
And the questions that the guys on the panel asked you, you were sort of mentally prepared for what they were going to ask. Were they easy questions for you in context?
I think they were like what most investors would ask us.
Yeah.
But the answers are not off pat. They're kind of like, what we gave was what we feel.
Yeah.
So I was delighted to receive the questions, and I thought we gave it a good hit in answering them.
No,
back.
you did. You did really, and again, lights, camera, the whole thing. It's new. It's difficult enough to pitch anyway, but you guys did really well, and I can tell you it was positive feedback from the guys. One thing they brought up is there's nothing else out there like it. Do you get that a lot?
We do, and like maybe you can pick this one up.
Yeah, I think it's the idea that our mission is to solve that area that Gary had initially with his friends that he looked after the estates around death. And I really feel that the ones who are attacking it around death are just coming up against kind of psychological and societal barriers in the UK, which is why we've really wanted to reverse engineer it, still achieve our mission, but enrich people's lives as well on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Well done today, guys. Really well done.
Thank you very much.